Okay, hi everybody. I wanted a chance to go through the first written homework assignment that I gave you. That was the 2 theta times cosine of theta plus theta equal to 0. I saw a lot of good solutions on there. A couple people caught one of the finer points of this problem, and most people did not, so I definitely want to touch on that. So how I would approach this problem is, instead of subtracting theta and then dividing by theta from both sides, I would actually factor a theta out, and so we're left with theta times 2 times cosine theta plus 1 equal to 0. And then from there we can set each piece equal to 0. So we have theta equal to 0 and 2 cosine theta plus 1 equal to 0. And the second equation, if we solve it for cosine of theta, we're going to get cosine of theta equal to negative 1/2. So what happened with most people's solutions is, if you divide out by a theta, you ended up losing the theta equal to 0 portion of the solution. So you have to be really careful. You don't want to ever divide by a variable, because it does often cause you to lose a solution. And then, kind of on the other hand, you've probably seen this before in math classes. If you were to say square both sides or multiply a variable, you might end up with an extraneous solution. So, an extraneous solution, you can always check it. If you lose a solution, it's pretty hard to find it again. Okay, so beware of ever dividing by a variable, because, it could be division by 0, you might lose a solution, and so forth. So one solution is indeed theta equal to 0. And then you have to look at this second piece here, where cosine of theta is equal to negative 1/2. So that's a bit of trig review. If we look at the unit circle and ask ourselves, where is cosine theta equal to negative 1/2? Well, cosine is only negative in quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. So it's definitely going to be in one of those quadrants, maybe both. And cosine has a magnitude of 1/2 for pi-third angles. So if we look at 2 pi-thirds in quadrant 2 and 4 pi-thirds in quadrant 3, okay, both of those give us a cosine value of negative 1/2. So because there was no interval specified, you're supposed to find all possible solutions. So not only are 2 pi-thirds and 4 pi-thirds solutions, but every time you go around the unit circle, I'll represent that in red here, you're going to have a new solution. Okay, so this red dot would represent 2 pi-thirds plus 2 pi, and then you could go around again, and so on. So our solution set ends up being theta equal to 0, 2 pi-thirds plus 2 pi n, and 4 pi-thirds plus 2 pi n, where n is any integer. Okay, so that's the solution. Nice work on this first homework assignment.